Hi everyone, it's Natalie here. And rat alert for those who are rat aversive. This is Sven, by the way. And he's like bruxing right in my ear, which means he's happy. Einar is somewhere in this little rat snuggie thing that I have that's way too warm for this weather. We'll see how long this lasts. And Einar's on my back. I can feel him crawling up towards, nope, it's this shoulder. I can feel him coming up this way. Yep, there he comes. So I'm here to do a little walkthrough / review of The Messenger Cards by Sandra Kunz. Yeah, and my little messengers decided to come and accompany me for this one. They get so lonely in their cage, and I'm here all day, and so they hear that I'm in the house, and then they want company. And basically, rats are sweet. They just want to. They're like dogs. They just want to be with you. So they're with us right now. Okay, so I got this deck a little while ago because I was looking for decks that I could pair, comfortably and reasonably with tarot cards for readings, and different decks that I have for client readings. And I do find them helpful in terms of just focusing a reading or just helping to dial in on what aspect of the reading is something that really needs focusing or highlighting, for a client. So that's how I ended up with them. And initially, I wasn't entirely sure what to think because they didn't quite, I don't know. I wasn't entirely sure. They are square-shaped and really stunning, very glossy. I did edge them in copper. So they've got this lovely copper edge that's those brilliants. They're like a teardrop shape. And I don't know, the copper just felt right. And when you see the cards, you'll see why that's a good choice. As I've worked with these, they have very quickly become one of my favorite decks to work with. Part of it is the artwork, and part of it is the messages and the way that Sandra Kunz writes her messages, which is absolutely stunning. She's a wonderful writer. So I thought maybe we would just go through the cards. They are not in order because I've been using them so much. But here we go. We'll just dive in here and get going. So this is number 30. Might have been good if I'd had them in order so I could read like what they are from the book, but I think we'll be okay without that. So there's 30. It's the otter and dragonfly. So hummingbird. And she's got a lot of them in this motif, kind of like a series, and that are white and have like, oh, whoops, wrong side. This kind of a sun in the background. Crow. Lots of crows and ravens. Really exquisitely done artwork. Two different owls. Got a great horned owl and a barn owl. Horse. That was my daily draw yesterday. Another raven. And the detail, the way that the raven is highlighted and she draws color and texture out of the bird's feathers is just exquisite. Ravens, and there's this kind of coloring here in the background that just works beautifully with that edging. A lot of butterflies as well. So the messenger is like, it is very heavily dependent on a few animals, and then, you know, which appear pretty regularly, and the butterfly is one of those. There are a lot of butterfly cards. Butterflies, ravens, and dragonflies are pretty heavily peppered throughout. There's another one in this kind of motif where there's always like a sun in the background. We've got a frog. I think that's a seagull. Another butterfly. Let's see more of this kind of coppery rust colored tone. Woodpecker. And again, if you see like the way that she's colored, excuse me, a lot of the texture comes from, you know, just highlighting things with little gold dots, which I love. I would never have necessarily thought of doing that, but it's really a beautiful effect. Bison. Wonderful card. They are very glossy. Elk. Spider. This one looks to me as though she may have used encaustic wax to create it, which I just love. So that like the background, you know, would have been done in paint, and then there's a layer of encaustic, and then she would have painted the spider on top of that after scratching the web into the encaustic wax to kind of get that effect. I'm a big fan of the use of encaustics for painting. It just adds so much depth. Not that I can paint, I just know a lot about it because I'm curious. And I like to know how I can use these techniques for other things as well. Yeah, and again, this kind of this beautiful kind of rust color that works so well with the coppery tones. And all of the gold that she's added, you know, here as highlighting and getting the color of the wings. And yeah. And you know, it's funny, it's very annoying on camera because of the glossiness, but I can tell you that, like, as I've used these cards in person, the gloss is not an issue. And if anything, where sometimes I don't necessarily feel this is the case, I actually feel like it's kind of even better with that glossy finish, actually. I know that sounds weird, but it does feel like it's right for this deck. I think because of the way that she's used paint and materials and stuff really seems to lend itself to this. So another dragonfly, raven. Just spend a little more time there. I kind of like pause on some cards and then skip past other ones. I can't remember what bird that might be. A crow. She does talk about a lot of her images and messages being very channeled for her. And I like too the contrast of simplicity, you know, this white, you know, almost, you know, pen and ink or line drawings, contrasted with, you know, paint and just different media. Beautiful wolf. Another beautiful wolf. See, again, two wolves, completely different from one another. And again, I've done a lot of, I've done several. I always intend to do one every day, and then sometimes I have too many things going on, and Instagram can feel very overwhelming. So I try to do one a day, and it's not always what happens. But the bear. Another butterfly. That one's one of my favorites. I don't think I've drawn that one yet. It's a swallow. I wasn't sure at first what bird that was, but it's a swallow. If you look closely, you can see the texture up here in this sort of moon sun thing, which is pretty cool. So as simple as the painting is or the drawing is, she's used other materials, to get that texture, to add some depth and complexity. A tortoise or a turtle. Butterfly. Pair of birds. I think the bird other side here is a hummingbird, obviously, and I'm pretty sure that one is as well. This one's a dove. This one is a swan, and its keyword is grace, and I know that because I posted it on Instagram the other day, so there were a few people who struggled to see it and some that could. But, this is its eye and its bill, so its nose is pointing down, so there's his head, and then his neck, right, is going this way, so that's a wing. I hope that makes sense. It took me a second or two to see it initially when I drew the card, but it does become visible if you stay with it long enough, and it's not easy to do that on camera, or in a photo. White buffalo. And dragonfly. Sven's suddenly very curious here. And again, she's so talented. It's still her work. She just finds different ways of combining different materials, and different media to get them channeled through the way she wants. Here's the eagle. Oh, one of my favorites. So this is a jaguar and a hummingbird. And the reading for this one is actually really stunning. I think I will pause and read this one because it's so good. A lot of these are very, personal, and then some of them are kind of transpersonal as well. So let's see if we can get, that's as good a angle as we can get here, I think. So evolution is the key word for this, for jaguar and hummingbird, number 5. We acknowledge our personal and global expansion. As we acknowledge our personal and global expansion, we allow ourselves the space we require to evolve. The amount of growing room we can give ourselves determines the amount of personal growth and expansion we will experience. We are currently in the midst of a large shift of consciousness, and now is a time of opening awareness and increased energy, which is here to facilitate our growth and expansion. The hummingbird and jaguar represent the masculine and feminine energy within us, and they are in harmony and balance with each other. As they gaze at each other, they experience themselves as two separate beings, and yet are intrinsically connected. This represents one aspect of our evolution. Collectively and individually, the masculine and feminine energy is evolving into one of balance and deeper connection. Infinite compassion and space is required to allow the shift to take place. Each individual can hold space for these evolving energies to take their new form within us and to experience how they affect us personally and in our relationships. Many of us may be currently experiencing the feelings of being lost, displaced, or we may be feeling the inability to relate to others in the same way as some of the old paradigms of male and female roles dissolve. But as with anything new, we can trust that the universe has a much bigger and unimaginably beautiful picture, one that we momentarily cannot see. The more compassion, trust, and space we can hold, the smoother and easier this transition and evolution will be. So, just to be transparent, that was the card that I drew on Saturday, the 3rd of August, when all of those shootings took place in Dayton and El Paso. So that became a very, very significant card for me on that day. Something that occurred to me as I was looking at this one, as much as compassion is mentioned, what we're also seeing here, this jaguar could snatch that hummingbird out of the air at any moment and eat it. And it chooses not to threaten. Simultaneously, that hummingbird, in its state of fear, could run away and not hold space with that jaguar, and instead chooses to trust its instinct in that particular moment and stay. So each is fighting an instinct and rising above that instinct in order to stay present with one another, in order for that connection to take place. And that's really the energy of compassion. It does require that we rise above the limbic system in the brain that dictates fight and flight, that recognizes threat and either attacks it or flees from it. And there's a choice instead to just stay in that moment and hold space. Okay, so 4 crows. Either a raven or a crow here. So you can see crows and butterflies, really, really crucial within this deck. Yeah. First card in the deck is a butterfly. Deer. Blue jay. And back to the otter. And there's one card I left out. So the same one that's the back of the card, which is a white raven, there's also a white raven card. So she's been very clever about the way she did this. She made sure to color in the background, or the foreground. And the white raven is the messenger. It was my card for today. The white raven's keyword is the messenger. And I thought, I haven't done a walkthrough of this deck. I think I should go ahead and do that. It was at number 26. So the messenger, the white raven, oops, where did he go? Here it is. There we go. Each of us has our own unique message of healing that we can sing out. This is our individual brand of love and comes from the very center of our souls. Through words, actions, non-actions, intentions, singing, dancing, or whatever calls, you can bring your message out for the benefit of everyone. Each of us has a different message or vibration, and when we allow our authentic self to come through, we are ringing out our message loud and clear. The raven has many voices in the physical realm, and is the symbol of the infinite divine voice of the universe. The white raven also symbolizes creation in its purest form of light from the void where all is created. The raven is the messenger from this place of pure potential, which is ours for the taking. Your message comes from your higher self, and if you listen, it will have a name and a purpose. Your unique message is vital for the healing of our planet, so deliver your message with divine clarity and share your vision. So that is the card that kind of dictates the tone of the whole deck in many respects. And I have to say, I have found this to be a really, really remarkable deck. So this one's Einar. He's got top ears and he's very fluffy and soft. But yeah, so the messenger cards are very, very, very beautiful, varied deck. I'm just loving working with them. You can kind of see too, I don't know if it'll come across here on camera or not, but it's sort of embossed a little bit, so the line work on the back of the cards is just ever so slightly raised so that you can see it as texture on the back. It's not really coming across here. They are really stunning cards. It's a beautiful deck, and it's available on Etsy. And Sandra Kunz also has a website. Sven, you do not get to come out and sit on the desk. Come here, you sneaker. So I will link all of that below in the description box. And in the meantime, I think these two little rubes need to go back to their cage so Mama can get some other work done. But anyway, they say hi, and I say hi. And yeah, my two little messengers, and I wish all of you tremendous love and tremendous compassion from the bottom of my heart. All right. See you next time. Thank you for watching.